Welcome to Leader Lifestyle Hub. As we have set the target of completing 200 book summaries in the entire year, here it comes book number 106. And the name of the book that we have today is Tell Me More, written by Kelly Corrigan. And the tagline of this book is Stories about the 12 hardest things that I am learning to say. So this is a book name. So let us see the Kelly Corrigan. She is a expert of American writer. She is a graduate of the University of Richmond and received a master's in literature from San Francisco State University. She is the host of Exactly, a 2017 series where top thinkers take big ideas. This is the book that we are going to read. Tell Me More, Stories about the 12 hardest things that I am learning to say. Okay. It was a one-time New York Times bestseller, a story-driven collection of essays on the 12 powerful phrases we use to sustain our relationships. So this is all about the book. Let us see the target audience. The 45-year parent whose children are just hitting puberty that feels at the end of her rope. And the 26-year old couple with a newborn baby who has no idea what they are doing. Like if someone as a being a parent who don't know what their baby is doing that, and anyone who is philosophically minded, for them this book will be helpful guide. Let us see the synopsis. Tell Me More will help you make everything, even the worst of the times, go more smoothly by learning about a few useful phrases to habitually use come rain or shine. All you need is love, right? While it is a nice idea, the truth is that relationships are messy. We yell, we fight, and we hurt one another almost daily. Sharing love and life with someone is not always as easy as saying I love you or I do. There is a lot more to it than that of. Let me repeat this statement again. Sharing love and life with someone is not always as easy as I love you or I do. There is a lot more to it than that. Loving others requires that we learn how to apologize. At other times, we have to put our foot down and make sure that our needs are met. Often, it requires that we are just there to listen and show that we care. These words we can learn to say that make relationships better is the focus of Kelly Corrigan's Tell Me More, Stories about the 12 hardest things that I am learning to say. She will help you see how phrases like no and life is just like this are like grease that make everything in family life work smoothly. So let us see the top 3 lessons from this book. Here are 3 simplest ways this book teaches us to make life better. Listening is most often the greatest problem solving tool than giving advice. So whenever if you are communicating with your spouse or your partner, this is the greatest problem solving tool. Listening is a greatest problem solving tool than giving advice. Sometimes it helps you to avoid the conflicts. The second powerful lesson is the word no is a vital component of all relationships, and anyone who says it deserves respect. And the third powerful lesson is being good enough is all you need to succeed in your life. Being good enough is all you need to succeed in life. Get ready for your relationships to have a complete makeover for the better. Let us begin. Lesson number 1. Always put listening before volunteering advice when somebody you love is going through something tough. Means whenever you feel someone is going through tough time, Always put listening first. Have you ever put together a puzzle? It's hard knowing where everything goes until you get to the end. That is, unless you cannot find the last piece, then it's get frustrating really quickly. In a similar way, it's hard to see the people we care about suffer when we know that missing piece will fix their problems. This is what Kelly's friend Tracy says, that trying to listen to children is like we hate to see our children in pain. So we want to solve every problem by giving them that missing piece. But that's not what our kids need. Their progression requires that they learn to figure some things out on their own. And the best thing we can do to help them is to listen. As Kelly and Tracy were discussing this on a long car ride once, Kelly's daughter, Georgia, called in tears. Although Kelly initially thought Georgia must have done something wrong, Tracy's nudges helped Kelly to listen instead of being hard on Georgia. Means Kelly was about to shout on her daughter, but based on her friend's advice, she kept listening. It turned out that Georgia did just want someone to listen and affirm her feelings. Sometimes by sharing their feelings, they feel satisfied. So they don't want any advice in return, but they feel satisfied. With the guidance of the Tracy, Kelly was able to help her daughter calm down by the end of the call. Usually when something goes wrong, people know what they need to do. It's not that advice that helps them. What most people need to get through it is someone to empathetically feel with them. Just we need one person to listen what we are saying. That's it. So always put listening if you want to have a long relationships, happy relationships, and smiling relationship. Let us see the lesson number 2. Respect people's wishes when they say no. It's just may save your relationship. Do you remember that last time you told someone that you wouldn't do something they wanted you to? Do you remember the last time you told someone that you wouldn't do something they wanted you to do? Saying no is easy when we are children. But as we grow, somewhere along the way, we learn to associate with being selfish, mean, or lazy. That's really disappointing, because for healthy relationships, saying no is vital and very, very important. Kelly had a lifelong goal of having 4 kids before she was 40. This was her goal, having 4 kids before she was 40. But when she got cancer, that threw everything in her life upside down. First, chemotherapy stopped her fertility. But to make matters worse, she then learned of a growth on her ovaries that required her to get them taken out. She was devastated. After dealing with the initial blow, Kelly found strength in considering alternatives to having more children. There was adoption or egg or embryo donors. All seemed right again until she shared all of this with her husband Edward. In a crushing blow to Kelly, he explained that he was happy. In his world, he finally had a healthy wife. Their kids were happy and his career was flourishing. Edward just could not battle any longer as he had for so long. Although hurt, Kelly did not push her husband further. That's because she now knew the extent of what her cancer had done to her husband. She began to realize that the best way forward was together, even if that meant she had to forego her dreams. Sometimes allowing someone we care about say no is just what the relationship needs to stay strong. So if you want to save your relationship for long run, sometimes if you feel genuinely no, say no. Let us see the lesson number 3. Having a great life does not mean perfection. Good enough is all it takes. Growing up as a perfectionist, I always had a hard time ever believing I was good enough. That was the case until recently when I began focusing on my strengths rather than my weaknesses. Learning about what I am good at and working on that makes me realize that I am not so bad after all. I am learning now that even though I make mistakes all the time, it doesn't mean my life is falling apart. Sometimes just getting through the day with a feeling that it was good enough is enough. Kelly felt like a late bloomer, knowing she just got her life figured out in her 30s. Prior to meeting the Edward and starting her family, she felt lost. Without a purpose, she drifted from one dead-end job to another dead-end job. And all this while her friends began families of their own. It was tough, but her dad was there to help. He always believed in her, even when she didn't believe on her own self. Kelly often heard him tell her that she had get it all worked out someday, and he was right. After all that time, Kelly finally got to ask her dad how he knew all those years that she would make it. He responded by telling her that people don't need to be perfect every day. Let me repeat this. People don't need to be perfect every day. Just a few victories here and there is enough to know that you will get there eventually. So just a few victories needed in every day here and there to know that you will get your destination eventually. So these are the top 3 lessons. Listen when someone is sharing their experience and say no if it is helping the relationship or it is helping to save your relationship. Stay good enough in your life which leads to your success. Don't need to be perfect every day. Remember, 1% growth of your life is enough. If you are able to make single percent progress today, that is enough. And you know the story of a bamboo tree. In the bamboo tree, it will take 5 years, no growth, and after 5 years, it will grow instantly like a exponential growth. In the same way, if you grow 1% every day, then it is enough. You will soon you will get your destination. Thank you so much. See you in another book summary tomorrow. Until then, stay connected, keep progressing.